right, good afternoon everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. We have a little bit of a different watch here today. This is the Grand Seiko SBGN005. This is a watch that, as you can see by its hand, is a quartz watch. So, you know, many people who are into watches, myself included, have a bit of a fascination with mechanical movements and their intricacies, but this one is a very different example of what high-end quartz can be. So this is a traveling GMT. It is a 39mm watch with a 9F movement in it. Lug to lug is 46mm, so right in that sweet spot. Thickness 12.1, so again, right in that sweet spot. A lot of people immediately notice and compare it to the Explorer 2 because of its very Explorer 2 font in the bezel, and because it is a 39mm by 12mm GMT, traveling GMT. So the main difference there, obviously, besides the brand, this is definitely a little bit more of a dressy watch. Well, it's very capable with 100 meters of water resist, but obviously that quartz hand, or quartz makes a big difference. This is accurate to plus or minus 10 seconds a year. It's thermocompensated, which means that really you can often expect to see much better than that. You can see jumping local hour. One of the big perks, Grand Seiko is often, well, to a cult level, praised for their absurdly high devotion to quality control, and one indicator of that is this lovely Grand Seiko screw down crown that just perfectly lines up. I don't know if that's just my example. You can see I have worn this. It's got a little bit of some scratching action going on. It has a similarly beautiful fold over clasp, and if we can get the focus, a nice case back. So, you know, nothing too exciting specs wise, just a nice solid watch. But let's talk about what I like and don't like about it. So what I like about it is it's really, you know, if you had to have a watch that looked nice, you know, in a suit, business watch, then you traveled a lot, but you kind of wanted that rugged dependability, 100-meter water resist, all that kind of stuff. And still some Lume is not much. We'll talk about that later, but still some Lume. You know, this is kind of like the average American's realistically best go anywhere, do anything watch, assuming you travel a fair amount, to make that, you know, extra cost for the GMT movement worth it. But the traveling GMT, I've had kind of the Great NATO kind of coined these terms as far as I know, but travelers versus callers GMT. The GADA automatic GMT is what most people call a caller's GMT, so the 24-hour hand jumps independently, versus this one, which has a independently jumping local hour hand. To me, the independently jumping 24-hour hand is completely useless. I have no real desire for that. The real convenience is that jumping local hour hand that allows you to change hours and time zones without having to reset the watch. So this watch has never been set in the year that it's been running, and it is less than 1 second off. So, you know, it's pretty absurd and impressive. It's just about the right size. It wears very well. My 6 3/4 inch wrist, but I think anyone from like a 6.5 up to a really like an 8-inch wrist could pull this off. It looks nice. That beautiful radiant blue sunburst effect dial is nice. That nice little burst of red in the GMT text and in the independent, or in the 24-hour hand. If I pivot it, you can see the rehat is white in the parts of it that would be daytime, and dark blue in the parts of it that would be nighttime. There we go. The date is not color matched, which is kind of a bummer, but honestly, that's okay. It'd be really hard to realistically color match a radiant sunburst dial like that. but we'll swing on to the cons here. I'm going to give this a quick charge, and as I have been starting to do, compare it with my Tudor Black Bay 58 as far as lume. Obviously it'll be less, but we'll just see what we get, and I'll give it some blast while I bring down the house lights here. It is very solid lume for what there is, but obviously you're not going to get the same kind of dependableness that you get out of a tool watch, a purely tool watch here. All right, so you can see it's not bad. It's excellent for what it is. It's just lacking surface area. So you know, nice, it charges well on ambient. It's Seiko's Lume Bright, so you know what you're getting in for here. Really, it's pretty similar to a SARB 033, which I've had before. Like good quality, fades a little fast, not terrible, but just not a lot of surface area. So that was a big hit for me because I like watches that have lume. You can see the Tudor really doesn't struggle here. But I'll bring the lights up. You can see that the AR works pretty well. And you can see that it really has some nice, people talk about the like moonlight. You don't really need lume because these hands and batons are so polished that the moonlight would illuminate it. And that's a little bit exaggerated, but it is very legible even in low light with those Dauphine hands. You can see a lot of polish, but some brushing. It does look beautiful in low light. So let's go ahead and ramp the lights back up, and we'll have some conclusions here. So would I recommend this watch? Yes, absolutely, if you can afford it. It's really pretty ideal for a lot of people. Really more ideal than most watches for than us in the watch community would like to admit. When I got this watch, it cost about $3,000 from an AD. That's not. I mean, it's very expensive, but really pretty entry level for Grand Seiko. I think this is honestly all the Grand Seiko pretty much anyone would need. As you can see, it's a little fragile. It gets scratched up pretty easily, but very dependable. I mean, unbeatable accuracy. If you just like, if you had a lot of money and you're just giving a watch to, like, you know, your father or grandfather, or someone who wasn't into watches, like this is flawless. If you don't need the lume and you just want that, grab a watch, travel the globe, never have to worry about it for swimming, you know, light diving, even though it's not officially ready for diving. I mean, 100 meters is plenty for what most people would be doing. Screw down crown, GMT, it's really just the everyman's, you know, really what a Rolex GMT or Explorer 2 should have been before it got crazy expensive. So, you know, ultimately I needed more lume and wasn't super impressed with how the watch patinaed so easily. So that's why I didn't wear it as much as I would have otherwise liked. But that's about all I have on this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.